everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for your weekly wrap-up. I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about this week because I was gone last week. I took a mini vacation down to Florida with my family. We had a great time. Even got a day in at Disney World, too. We saw Minnie Mouse and Winnie the Pooh and a whole bunch of other characters. It was a lot of fun, and my daughter really had a good time. I want to start, though, by talking about our Patreon page and our newest supporters of our Patreon effort. Mary Ann Wooten, Keith Robinson, and Phil Nolan have all made a monthly contribution to the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. I'll talk more about what Patreon is and what it means to the channel a little bit later on in the video, but I wanted to thank them at the outset here. So I did a bunch of stuff while I was gone. Here's the highlights. We looked at the OnePlus X, a great phone from a company with lousy customer service. I talk about those things in the video. We look at the HP Stream 11, which is an update of the HP Stream 11 we looked at last year. This is the newer version. Doesn't perform as well, though, as last year's model, and I talk a bit about that in the video. All of those videos, by the way, are linked above in the master playlist, so you can check those out. We also took a look at the Lenovo Stick PC, as well as another little SSD drive, this one from Samsung. It's a really great little fast drive, as fast as a regular larger solid-state disk you might put in your computer, but it's a tiny little thing that you can plug in to a USB 3 port. SanDisk makes one also that we reviewed, and I picked up this Samsung one as a comparison. I love these things. I'm buying more of them. They're so useful and super, super fast. So really cool little devices there. We also took a look at the Channels app for Apple TV, and I did a couple of little quick hits on Chrome OS related to printing, as well as some stuff with the Chromecast too. And again, you can see all that stuff linked above. So one of the things that I didn't get to, though, was the Raspberry Pi Zero. I've got it right here. This is it. However, it's broken. The one that I got doesn't work. I plugged it in and did everything right. Unfortunately, it's not booting up, so I'm going to have to send this back and get another one. And unfortunately, everybody is out of stock. So I figured what I would do is just give you a little hardware overview so you can see what it's all about. It is very tiny, and actually what this is a faster version of the original Raspberry Pi. So it's not as fast as the Raspberry Pi 2 that we looked at a couple of months ago, but it is faster than the original. So it's about 40% faster than the original Pi, 512 megabytes of RAM built in too. I think everything is just on that one chip there. They've really stripped this thing down to its bare bones. You put your memory card in there for booting it up. There's an HDMI port here. There's a USB port for power and another one for connecting devices. And that's the problem with this, that although the computer is $5, in order to get it to work on the internet, you're gonna have to plug in a Wi-Fi adapter or an Ethernet adapter, as well as a keyboard and a mouse and a USB hub, so you can plug all those things in. And by the time all is said and done, you'll probably pay about as much as a regular Raspberry Pi would cost. But it is cool, though, to be able to have a computer that really works for $5, and it runs Linux, essentially, Unix variant that runs on all the other Raspberry Pis. So I'm eager to get a new one in that actually works, and when I do, I will do more with it. But I did want to show it to you because it is a neat little piece of hardware, although you will need to spend far more than $5 to get it to work for you. But nonetheless, they've accomplished something pretty significant there. And a couple of stories in the news interested me this week. The big one, of course, is the new Star Wars movie. I haven't been this excited for a Star Wars movie since 1983, when Return of the Jedi came out. I was a first grader. It was a brand new Star Wars story. I had seen both Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars many, many times on HBO and on my VCR, but this was like the first movie I was old enough to actually go and see, and I was so excited for it, and I really kind of feel like that again. And what I did was I got in touch with some friends of mine and said, hey, what if we could go out all together and buy tickets into the same theater to see it together? And I thought maybe we'd get maybe 20 or 30 people. I have 180 friends of mine coming to see this movie with me. So we've got the whole theater essentially for a showing all together. So not only am I excited for this film, which really is continuing a story that I loved as a child, but I'm going to be seeing it with so many of my friends, many of whom I grew up with. So we're all going to experience this great new film together. I'm assuming it's going to be great because it looks great. And actually, even if it stinks, it's going to be fun to see it with a bunch of friends. But I think J.J. Abrams really knows what the fans want here, and he's going to give us what we've been hoping for so many years. And it's really cool, again, just to have a brand new story with characters that we're very familiar with. And it really, just from the trailers, really looks like what I was hoping the sequel to the original trilogy would kind of look like. And this is really pushing all those buttons for me. So I am super pumped about this. I would love to hear what you think too. I know it's overhyped at this point, but you know what? I'm excited for it, and I am going to go see this movie, and maybe even as many times as I saw Return of the Jedi as a kid. We'll see after it comes out later this week. So in case you've been living under a rock, the Star Wars movie is coming out. On a more serious note though, if you are a drone pilot, with a Parrot drone or one of those DJIs or whatever, you need to register yourself with the federal government here in the United States beginning on December 21st. They're basically going to be handing out licenses for drone pilots. This is going to cover flying any drone over a ½ pound in weight. Now, you don't have to pass a test or anything. You just need to file a registration fee for $5. They're going to waive it for the first 30 days. What that's going to do is give you a identification number that you have to stick on all of your drones. That one fee is going to cover everything, though, so you don't have to register every drone that you fly. You just have to stick your ID number on all the drones that you're flying around. If you don't do it and you cause some kind of accident, you are going to be liable not only for the accident that you caused, but also a fine for not registering. And this is something everyone's going to have to do, unfortunately. And I think it's an example of a few people kind of ruining it for the rest of us. So that is going to be the law of the land here in the U.S. Registration will be required as you move forward. I do think that a lot of folks are getting overly hysterical about these drones. Certainly there are some incidents that are troubling to see, people flying drones too close to airports or flying them into the White House is what we saw a couple of months ago. But, I think a lot of it's overblown. These things really don't have the capacity that people think they do. But nonetheless, that is the result of a few bad actors doing some crazy things. What's funny is, or maybe not so funny, but the kid that had the drone that could fire a gun and had the flamethrower, he actually lives about 10 minutes away from me here in Connecticut. So, those are examples of things that people are seeing in the media, which then becomes what you see here. So we're going to have to start registering drones, or at least yourself, with the FAA. That registration is going to be good for 3 years, and after that you have to renew it for $5. And again, it's waived for the first 30 days. So that is what I found interesting in the news this week. And also this week, I've got a whole bunch of reviews in the hopper, or at least on the horizon. I've got a bunch of new mini PCs from Acer and Dell. I've got a Lenovo tablet, an Android tablet with an Intel Cherry Trail processor. So we'll see how the Cherry Trail does with Android coming up. We also have a Lenovo gaming PC. I've got so much stuff that has just been piling up that I really have to get to it all. So just be on the lookout. All of that stuff is coming as I get to it. So I'm really excited to start plowing through some more products now that I'm back from my little mini vacation. It's nice to get a little rest every once in a while. If you want to help the channel, you can go to Lon.TV/Patreon and make a monthly contribution to the channel. And of course, we have our fan funding page at Lon.TV, which is a one-time contribution. All those funds go into paying for the things that I buy for the channel to review, and then I resell them at my store at Lon.TV/store. I sell those below retail costs because they're used items, and of course I'm losing money in that transaction, so this fund goes to help that. Eventually I'd like to be able to hire somebody to help make me produce more content, so at some point as that fund grows, we'll probably look at shifting the purpose of it away from product acquisition and over to some help, because I could definitely do a lot more if I had some help here in the studio. So that is one goal of mine in the future. I got some other ways you can connect with the channel. Our email list is at Lon.TV/email. I'm not a frequent emailer, but I do send out special event notifications when new things show up on the store, that kind of thing, so you can subscribe there. We got my Facebook page at Lon.TV/Facebook. We're getting very close to 1,000 likes. So even if just like 5% of the 70,000 subscribers, which we hit this week, were to go and like that page, it'd be a big help, because I want to be able to start doing some live streaming and some other fun stuff on Facebook, and I have to get to that 1,000 like threshold to be there. So if you can hit that like button over on the Facebook page, that would be great. And of course, we've got my forums at Lon.TV/forums. As always, your feedback and support is appreciated. I'm starting to do some things to the review formats because I'm getting kind of bored with doing the same exact thing with all these different computers. So I'm going to start making them a little bit more concise and maybe focusing on specific features of the product. So the last two videos I uploaded, the OnePlus X video as well as the Stream 11, I'm experimenting a little bit, trying to kind of cut down on some of the things that are obvious, like how well it runs Microsoft Word or browses the web, and focusing more on specific attributes for those products. So take a look at those two videos and let me know what you think, if I'm on the right track or not, because your feedback really is helpful. It's amazing how when I get some good feedback from all of you and I implement that, I see a lot more viewership as a result. So those things really do help quite a bit, and I always appreciate your feedback. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by the generosity of my Patreon supporters. If you find the channel helpful, you too can contribute for as little as $1 a month. Visit Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more.